What's the weirdest thing you ever bought online?
Once I bought coinage from North Korea. Not from North Korea, but it was North Korean. It was actually from Latvia. Yeah. I'm Cory, and this is my story. So I guess my story starts when I was in elementary school. Up until 9th grade, I was homeschooled. And my parents did a really good job through that time of instilling in me like biblical values. And unlike some people, unfortunately, my parents were definitely my most positive influence in my life. So through that time, I really had a growing desire to do what was right in the sight of the Lord and in the sight of my parents. I've kind of always had that mentality, and I guess you could call me a goody two-shoes, but it really brought me joy to know that I was doing what the Lord wanted me to do. I grew up in this Christian home, and I believed that I had accepted Christ at a really early age, and that might have been the case, but when I was about 10 or 11, I really started to have doubts about my salvation. I was really kind of obsessed at the time with biblical end times and things that are accounted for in Revelation. And so that stuff really scared me. And it kind of came to a point where I was like really paranoid that I wasn't going to heaven. And how would I know that I was going to heaven? And it came to a point where I had to accept Christ has told us that, you know, if you confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, then you're saved. And I really had to just plainly accept Christ's promises to us. And so I think it was around that time that I accepted Christ for certain. When I reached 9th grade, my parents put me into public school. That was a really difficult transition for me, but it really taught me a lot of things. And when I got there, I realized that I was a lot different than most people were, especially in regards to like just my moral standard. And that really made it hard for me to make friends and to sort of fit in. And that whole time throughout high school, I knew what was most important to me. I knew Christ needed to be the center of my life and was the center of my life, but it was difficult for me to keep that focus because I was distracted by wanting friends and romantic relationships and things like that. But Christ really has been with me through that time and really molded me and taught me sort of an independence. Throughout that time, being homeschooled and even through high school, I really used my surroundings and my parents as maybe sort of a crutch in a way. My faith was definitely my own at that point, and it wasn't my parents, but at the same time, like, I had their support and I had the support of fellow Christians around me all the time. There wasn't any circumstances in which I needed to stand up for what I believed in or validate it for my own sake, I guess. But entering college, I had to really formulate what I believe, really think about in new ways what I believe. The most simple things God has really revealed to me the past couple years in new ways, like the fact that our good works are but filthy rags. It's really been something that I understand in a new way. And in a lot of ways, since beginning college, my faith has really taken off, and I've really learned to trust the Lord in ways that I didn't necessarily need before, because I never really ran into any situations where I was dealing with major personal conflict or major personal tragedy. And in a lot of different situations coming to college, I realized that there were times when all I could do was put my trust in Christ that His plan would work out for the best, and that's really grown my faith in a lot of amazing ways.
This is the story of how Jesus has changed my life.
Has He changed yours?
Coinage is what?
I should have said coins. So I guess my story starts when I was about, well, no, okay. It's been kind of a struggle for me, or it's, blah, 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 blah. So when I was 11, I was baptized, and shortly after I was
He just looked into the camera in the office.
when I was 11, I was baptized, and up until through when I started, then okay, is this as bad? In a lot of ways, it was sort of like my faith was in a cast. I was wearing a cast even though I didn't necessarily need a cast, but it was helping me in a way. That's a bad analogy, but like,
I'm sorry.
dang it, what kind of analogy can I use? That was the best thing I could come up with. Okay, cut that part out.
All right,
Praise be.